it's technical.
What technology should I use to build my app?
What technology should I use to build my app? It will always be a good question to answer. So let me turn it over to
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. All right. So the title of my speech today is "What technology should I use to build my app?" If you haven't noticed, if you haven't been paying attention, if you haven't been here for very long, in a lot of my speeches recently, especially the technical ones, I've been discussing different ways of building applications, especially mobile applications and cross-platform applications. And in a lot of, I've been discussing this kind of topic as far as how should I go about picking a topic, or what kind of framework should I be using, that sort of thing. And I've been kind of running into a little bit of an issue, and that was a good place. I've been looking for a website or chart or something to help me show to people and say, hey, check this out. This is the way to figure out how to decide on what kind of technologies I should use. I haven't really found anything very good. So today's agenda, what's the point? Why do we have to do this? Why should anyone care? We're going to look back at some of the previous information, previous features, and things that I've discussed. We're going to introduce the flow chart that I made to help bridge this gap of things that I want to see and things I'm not seeing. How did I make it? What did I do? What kind of technologies did I use? That sort of thing. And I'm also going to ask for you guys to help me make it better. If you had checked your email in the last hour, which I imagine the majority haven't, you'll notice that I sent you an email at like 7:15 or something this morning saying, hey, check these things out. And it's the previous speeches I've had that are associated with the topic and the white paper that I discussed in one of my speeches. All right, now, so what's the point? Why? Right? So, why are we worried about that? Why do I care? Why am I enamored with the idea of trying to make a proper decision on what kind of technology to use? I want to make sure that you don't screw up. You want to make sure that you pick the right framework, the right kind of technology for each individual application that you're trying to make. You can't just shoehorn all projects into one thing. I asked my person talking about Angular one time, I said, what's the right, at the end of his speech, I said, what's the right kind of project to be using AngularJS for? And he says, all of them. I get it, it's a good framework, but you can't use it for an iOS app, for example. It doesn't work that way. Also, you really need to analyze the needs of each individual project. If you go with the $1 million giant super awesome solution for every single solitary little one-off thing that you do, it's probably not going to be very successful. There are going to be some sleeker, more agile guys who are going to come in and probably going to beat you at something. Also, I've been looking for decision-making help, like I mentioned before. I've seen different things, and I don't really like what I'm seeing. So I said, all right, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. All right, a trip down memory lane. If you remember, I talked about cross-platform mobile development, your options. And there's a link to the YouTube video. Of course, you can also just go to our Facebook page and look at all of the YouTube videos that are up there. And that isn't quite good enough for all things because, like I said, cross-platform mobile development only. So there's no native development, and there's no across the web design. There's nothing about websites specifically. It's all about cross-platform mobile development. So it wasn't quite good enough as far as the breadth. And approaching mobile, that was the white paper that was written by Teller. I discussed that in a previous video. Here's the link to that one. I thought that it was quite biased. Why? Because it was written by Teller, and they wanted to talk about their stuff. In general, it's actually really good, and I do recommend looking at it. But it was biased. It was definitely trying to gear you more toward what they're doing, which is like PhoneGap type hybrid application. And the flow chart looked interesting, right? And that's what kind of caught my eye. Hey, this is pretty good. I never really got down to the nitty-gritty of it. In fact, I brought it here. I printed out a few copies of it. I'm going to pass it around. You take one and pass it along. So like I said, it looks pretty good when you first see it. You're like, hey, this looks pretty interesting. Kind of looks like a bunch of working gears and stuff like that. Wow, this looks cool. But as you start to analyze it, you start to see there's a few problems with it. First and foremost, does this look like any other flow chart you've ever seen in your life? There's kind of a way to do it, squares and triangles and stuff like that. And there, if you start to try to follow it bit to bit, you notice some oddities. Like, for example, when you go from here to here, and they ask you need to point to the App Store. You see a yes here. Okay, it's in a light bulb. So Now, what is this? No, maybe. Kind of, sort of. I don't know. And then those are the kind of things. How come native is no circle, but and hybrid is circle? I don't get it. What exactly is this weird down leaking? I don't get it. So things start to break down. You also notice that you start getting channeled into hybrid, which is what they do. So I don't know, it wasn't quite good enough. But again, feel free to take a look at it. It is interesting. It's a pretty good starting point. I did think it was pretty nice to look at. All right, so I said, screw this. I'm going to make my own JavaScript flow chart, right? And it is to help guide your app decision making, whether it's just going to be a website. Maybe you want it to look good on mobile phones to make a responsive website. Maybe you go with something like a phone gap type thing. Maybe you go phone native, somewhere in between, like a Xamarin type option, whatever. Now, my JavaScript flow chart is solely done in web technologies, meaning JavaScript, HTML, CSS, that sort of thing. And definitely work in progress. I think it's pretty far along as far as the architecture and how it works is concerned. But I would like a little bit of feedback. All right, so let's hope the internet works over here. All right, so I want an app, right? You notice here I put discuss down at the bottom. If afterwards you want to make a mention or a comment or something, please do. So click. I want an app, right? Click next. Fine. What's everywhere else? Really?
Try zooming out. Who wrote this?
I'm gonna try real browsing. Oh, it works. Oh. All right. So, do I really need an app, right? Do I really need an app? Like, let's say, well, it's not really an app, it's a menu for my restaurant. All right, let's go with a responsive website. Click the back button, you come back. Notice the transition goes the opposite direction. Got that the suggestion from someone else after I was like, oh, it's a pretty good idea. It would just pop back in. All right, I'm not going to go into the whole thing too much, but you'll notice when you click one of the arrows, it goes to different decision making, and you have your diamonds for your questions, and you have the yes and the no, that sort of thing, and going backwards, and you say, you know what, I went down the wrong chart, I'm way off, I better restart. Okay, good. Looking good so far? Everybody understand? Cool. I think I got my first suggestion though. Make it work cross browser.
Do you have unlimited budget? Is that a question?
Sometimes it's considered IE browser. Yeah, that's the point. I probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't support the lowest tiny edge cases with like 1%. You know what I mean? Go for the guys that actually matter. All right, how did I do that? 100% web technology, like I said, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, nothing interesting, no Xamarin like I've been talking about, or phone gap, or hey, no need for any of that stuff. I use JSON objects for the flowchart. So each individual thing is a tiny little JSON object with an ID, text, type, and direction. So basically, the ID is like, for example, the first one is start, and the text says why you need an end, right? And then the type is I made a few different types, classes of types. Like an endpoint, like this is your final destination or beginning, and that's the circle. The question, which is a diamond, and the state, kind of like, okay, now I'm in a particular spot, right? That's the square. So the type determines what shape that was. And the left, right, down are the IDs for the thing that would happen if you click to the left, right, or down, right? Makes sense? And the way that I navigate through is I push and pop the things that you select into an array. And you have one active object at a time. And technically all the things in the flowchart, if there's 50 different things, they're all sitting right there on the same spot. 49 of them are hidden. The thing that says active, that's the one you can see. And when you're transitioning, I set the left, top, right variable to wherever it's transition into using jQuery animation. I use underscore here. Who here has heard of underscore JS? Underscore JS is a great library, absolutely fantastic. Super tiny little thing. And what it will help you do is to parse through arrays, collections, that sort of thing. So when I say, what is the active item? It is extremely easy. I don't have to go looking through and doing some weird for each loop. It's very kind of linkish if you know C# at all. Very nice. Very cool library. And as far as jQuery is concerned, I use that for DOM manipulation, which is sliding, moving things around, hiding, showing, that sort of thing, and all of the animation. Alright, so resources. If the bit.ly link right here for that particular flowchart is bit.ly/@flowchart. The thing I have found out about bit.ly links is that they are case sensitive. So, capital A, capital S, capital C. Please go there with your comments and suggestions. Like I said, this is a work in progress, and I would really like a lot of feedback. I've already got some pretty good ones from friends and stuff that I've reached out to before. For example, when you went back, I didn't have transitions initially, and you said, why don't you put transitions in there? Sounds good. And the white paper that I referenced that I passed around, you find that link here, and I will turn that over to Madam.
Vince, I'm not sure if your email that you sent out included the link to your app or the feedback, but if it hasn't, why don't you send that out?